What is freedom? Our modern world defines it by what we have. Freedom is wealth, status, power, the ability to go anywhere and do anything we want. By that definition, the freest person in the Roman Empire should have been the emperor himself, but one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, a man whose ideas would one day guide an emperor, argued that this definition is a lie. He believed that the emperor on his throne could be a miserable slave, while a man in literal chains could be the freest man in the world. To understand Epictetus's philosophy, you must first understand the fire in which it was forged. Born in Hierapolis, in modern-day Turkey, he was sold into slavery as a boy and brought to Rome. His master was Epaphroditus, a wealthy and powerful secretary to the infamous Emperor Nero. Epictetus was not just a laborer. As an educated Greek slave, he was part of an elite household, but he was property nonetheless. His every moment, his every action was subject to the will of another man. The most famous story from this period defined his entire philosophy. The details are passed down through history. One day his master Epaphroditus, in a fit of rage or perhaps cruel amusement, began to violently twist Epictetus's leg. An ordinary person would have screamed, begged, or fought back. Epictetus did none of these. According to the account, he calmly looked at his master and warned him, "You are going to break it." Epaphroditus continued, and the bone snapped. Even then, Epictetus did not cry out in rage or self-pity. He simply looked at his master again and said, "I told you so." This story is almost unbelievable, but it contains the seed of his entire life's work. In that moment, the young slave had discovered a power that was greater than his master's. Epaphroditus could control his body. He could break his leg. He could cause him immense pain, but he could not control his response. He could not make him angry. He could not make him despair. He could not break his will. Epictetus had discovered the one single place in the entire universe where he was completely and totally free, his own mind, his ruling faculty as he would later call it. He spent the rest of his life first as a slave and later as a free man and teacher, perfecting the tools to defend that inner space. He learned, in the most brutal way imaginable, that true slavery and true freedom are not conditions of the body but choices of the soul. He knew this because he had been that man. His name was Epictetus. He was born a slave. He was owned, bought, and sold like property. His body was subject to the whims of a powerful master. He was lame, a constant physical reminder of his brutal circumstances. He had none of the things we associate with freedom. Yet from this position of absolute powerlessness, he forged a philosophy of absolute mental liberation so powerful that it has endured for 2 millennia. This is not the story of a gentle philosopher. This is the story of a survivor. Epictetus's teachings are not comforting aphorisms. They are a hardcore practical training manual for the human will, a system for building an inner fortress, so strong that nothing, not poverty, not pain, not exile, not even a tyrant can ever touch your soul. This is the masterclass of Epictetus, the slave's guide to absolute freedom. Everything Epictetus learned in the crucible of his slavery solidified into one powerful central doctrine. It is the foundation of all practical Stoicism. If you understand this one idea, you understand Epictetus. It is, of course, the dichotomy of control. He opens his famous handbook, the Enchiridion, with this idea, stated with absolute clarity: some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. Within the category of up to us are our own judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, in short, everything that is our own doing. In the category of not up to us is everything else: our body, our possessions, our reputation, our job, the actions of others, the state of the world. Now, this may sound simple, but it is the most radical and liberating idea in all of philosophy. Epictetus argued that all human misery, without exception, comes from one single error: trying to control things that are not up to us, or neglecting things that are. When you are anxious, you are fearing a future you do not control. When you are angry, you are raging against a reality that did not conform to your expectations. When you are envious, you are desiring a reputation or possession that belongs to someone else. You are, in every case, fighting a battle outside of your own territory. It is a battle you are guaranteed to lose. Epictetus taught that this isn't about becoming passive, it is about becoming radically focused. It's about conserving your finite mental and emotional energy for the only arena where you have 100% power. You cannot control if it rains, but you can control your attitude about the rain. You cannot control a rude comment from a coworker, but you can control your response to it. You cannot control the global economy, but you can control your personal budget and your work ethic. The Stoic life is a constant practice of sorting every event into these 2 baskets, and then having the wisdom and discipline to focus exclusively on the basket that is yours. This is where your power lies. This is where your freedom is found. So the dichotomy of control tells us what to focus on. But how do we do it in the heat of the moment when our emotions are pulling us in 1,000 directions? For this, Epictetus gave us his most practical tool, the discipline of assent. He taught that the world bombards us with impressions, raw data from our senses and our thoughts. The sound of a siren, a critical email from your boss, a memory of a past failure, a thought that you aren't good enough. These impressions are not good or bad, they are just information. The danger, he said, lies in what we do next. We have a tendency to immediately assent to them, to agree with them, to believe they are true, and to let them into our inner citadel. Epictetus taught a 3-step process to become a vigilant gatekeeper of your mind. Step 1, pause and separate. When a powerful impression arrives, like a wave of anxiety or a flash of anger, you must first pause, recognize it for what it is. Say to it, internally, you are just an impression, and not at all the thing you claim to represent. This act creates a space between you and the emotion. You are no longer in the wave, you are observing it. Step 2, test the impression. Now you interrogate it. Does this concern something that is within my control, or outside of it? If it's outside your control, like what someone else thinks of you, you can say, then this is nothing to me. If it concerns something within your control, like your own actions, you can then analyze it rationally. Is this thought true? Is it helpful? Step 3. Give or withhold assent. This is the final judgment. Based on your analysis, you either give your assent, yes, this is a rational thought I should act on, or you withhold it. Withholding assent from a negative, irrational thought is one of the most powerful things you can do. You are refusing to believe it. You are denying it entry. The thought may still be there, outside the gates, making noise, but you have not let it inside your fortress to cause chaos. This is the practice of a lifetime, standing guard at the gates of your mind. Once we understand what to control and how to manage our thoughts, Epictetus gives us a framework for how to act in the world. He used a powerful metaphor that resonates deeply with our search for purpose. Remember that you are an actor in a drama, of such a kind as the author pleases to make it. Think about what this means. In the great play of life, you do not get to write the script. You do not choose your role. You did not choose where you were born, the family you were born into, the body you were given, or the major events that will befall you. These things are assigned to you by the director of the universe, what the Stoics called fate or logos. Many people become miserable fighting against their assigned role, wishing they had been cast as someone else. Epictetus taught that this is a foolish waste of energy. Your job is not to complain about your part. Your job is to be the best possible actor you can be in the role you've been given. He said, if it be his pleasure that you should act a poor man, see that you act it well, or a cripple, or a ruler, or a private citizen. For this is your business, to act well the given part, but to choose it is another's. This is a radical redefinition of success. Success is not about having the best role, being a CEO, a celebrity, or a billionaire. Success is about playing your role with virtue and excellence. The janitor who performs his duties with integrity, diligence, and pride is living a more successful Stoic life than the king who rules with laziness and injustice. The opportunity for excellence exists in every role, no matter how humble. So, look at the roles you have been given. The role of a son or daughter, a parent, a friend, a professional, a neighbor. Your duty is not to wish for different roles. Your duty is to fulfill the responsibilities of those roles with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. That is how you bring meaning and honor to the part you've been cast to play. Eventually, Epictetus was granted his physical freedom in a process known as manumission, likely after his master's death, but his trials were not over. In the year 93 AD, the tyrannical Emperor Domitian, suspicious of philosophers, banished them all from Rome. For many, this would have been another devastating blow. For Epictetus, it was his greatest opportunity. He traveled to Nicopolis, a major city in western Greece, and there he established his own school of philosophy. And it became one of the most famous and respected schools in the entire Roman Empire. Senators, equestrians, and future leaders would make the journey just to learn from the former slave. He had become a master in his own right, teaching the principles of resilience he had learned through a lifetime of hardship. And it is here we must thank one student in particular, a young man named Arrian. Epictetus, like Socrates before him, never wrote down a single word of his own philosophy. He believed in the power of live discourse and dialogue. All of his teachings that survive today, the discourses in the Enchiridion, exist only because Arrian took meticulous notes, word for word, of his master's lectures. This teaches us a profound lesson about legacy. Epictetus's impact was not in building monuments or accumulating wealth. His legacy was in the minds of the people he taught. His influence flowed through Arrian, who preserved his words, and those words would eventually reach the hands of a young Roman noble named Marcus Aurelius, who would use them as a guide to become the philosopher king. Epictetus's purpose was fulfilled not just by mastering himself, but by giving others the tools to do the same. And so, we see the full picture of the lame slave who became one of the West's most influential teachers. His journey is the ultimate testament to the power of the human spirit and the practicality of Stoic philosophy. He was a man forged in the fires of powerlessness, who discovered that the only true power worth having resides within. His entire philosophy can be distilled down to his core, uncompromising message, a challenge he posed to his students and to us: no man is free who is not master of himself. This is the final lesson. The dichotomy of control gives you the map of your kingdom. The discipline of assent teaches you how to guard its gates. And playing your role well is how you govern your kingdom with virtue. Epictetus's life is the ultimate proof that our external circumstances, no matter how brutal or limiting, do not define us. Our choices do, our judgments do, our will does. He proved that within every single one of us, whether we are a slave or an emperor, there exists a fortress, a citadel of the mind, that can, with relentless training, become truly and completely free. An inner sanctuary that no external force can ever conquer. Your task now is to begin your own training, to start guarding the gates of your own mind. That is the path to real freedom. That is the legacy of the lame slave from Hierapolis.